tonight's talk today with Johannes Fischer. Very happy to have you with me. And it's myself, Arne Kähler. Happy to be here as well.
Thank you, Arne. Good to be here. Good to see you.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to our little chat about the events of the last week in chess.
Indeed. So, yeah, and of course, our main theme we chose today is because of at least two incidents in the last weeks. It is cheating. We won't the general themes like Kramnik, Kirill. We will not talk about that too much, but cheating in general, because it is fascinating. It's a fascinating thing. I am fascinated by this theme, and I am watching YouTube videos about cheating scandals in any kind of business, because I think it's crazy. It is so crazy. It's the dynamic, all of this. It's something very special. How do you feel about cheating in general as a theme?
Oh, I'm not as interested in cheating as you seem to be, but I think it is an interesting topic because it seems to crop up again and again and again, and it seems to be in a certain way, it seems to be part of human nature. You pretend to be something else to get an advantage.
Indeed, and you were asking me a very interesting question yesterday, right from the start, when we were talking about what we were talking about today. Arne, have you ever cheated?
I was meaning chess, not other areas of life.
Fair enough. But I immediately said no. But this morning, I woke up and I thought about cheating, and I thought, I was actually cheating once. In chess.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, and I forgot it. I forgot about it. So let me quickly mention what happened. There was a chess server way back then called Game Not or Chess Not or something with a knot. And this chess server was about correspondence chess. So you make a move, your opponent makes a move. And after playing a couple of games, because a friend told me about this, I played a couple of games, I won a couple of games, and then I lost a couple of games. But I thought, wait, the ratings of those people are so low. This is so crazy. And when I checked it with the engine after the game was done, after they beat me, it was all computer moves. And it didn't stop. Like almost any opponent I had, they played computer moves. And then I thought, this is so annoying. And this one is also playing computer moves. I will use computer moves too. So I think it was just two engines playing against each other. I had this with 2 or 3 opponents. And I think every player on the server was sucked into using engines because a couple of players started because they did want to win. And then everybody was like, oh yeah, well, I can use an engine too. Let's see how this will turn out. Shortly after I stopped playing there. But that was clearly cheating by myself. I mean, it wasn't for money or even rating or something like this. I don't even know the site exists anymore, but that was a thing, which I just skipped because I thought, wait, is it even cheating? I think correspondence, you can use engines. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a total fine thing. But I think after all, I didn't think about it too much, but I think I was cheating.
Well, I think you can use, I know that you can use engines and correspondence chess now, but I think a couple of years before it was not allowed. You were cheating actually when you used engines and correspondence chess, but I might be wrong with that. But what you say reminds me, or this makes me think that it's the environment, you didn't you didn't want to play on the server with the intention of cheating.
Of course,
it was just because everyone was cheating. You thought to yourself, maybe how is it in French? Corriger la fortune. You help fate a little bit in your favor.
Yeah, but so silly.
Well, I don't know if it's silly, but it reminds me of a tournament I once played, and I think it was 1990 in Sochi, the Chigorin Memorial.
That's even further away.
And this was at a time when the Soviet Union was crumbling, but it still existed. And I got the invitation by chance because my chess club at that time was the Schachfreunde Schöneck, which is a small village near Frankfurt, and they had connection to Russia, and they invited one player of our club, and we just had to pay the flight, but expenses in Russia would be covered. And everything about this tournament was rigged. Everything. It was just amazing. I mean, I didn't realize this at that time. I mean, I realized it at that time, but I didn't realize it when I started to play the tournament.
Of course.
But I think the tournament didn't start on time because they were still waiting for 1 or 2 players. The problem was they didn't have these players, and they didn't have enough foreign players to get a norm. They didn't have enough grandmasters. So what they did was they tried to find people in Moscow, and they found Grandmaster Tchaikovsky and a French player who at that time was studying in Moscow, a guy called Olivier Touzan, who later came to fame because I think in one of the first knockout world championships, he won in the first round, the first game of his match against Arne. That's his claim to fame. But the problem was, I mean, just one of the problems, that Tchaikovsky was scheduled to play a tournament in Vladivostok at the other end of the Soviet Union the very next day or 2 days afterwards, and he couldn't cancel that. And so the arbiter came to us. I mean, I was staying with a Dutch player called Rudi Doven, strong player, very friendly, very nice guy. And the arbiter told us that there is a little problem, that Tchaikovsky had to play in Vladivostok, and therefore they would propose that Tchaikovsky would be generous enough to play all his games the next day. I mean, he played the very same evening. He played against Touzan and he won that game. But then he said, well, because it's, I'm in time trouble, I can play all my games. I'm generous enough to play all my games on the next day. But the problem is, if you play 10 games on one day, you might run out of time. And so the arbiter told us that because Tchaikovsky was so generous, it would be nice if we were also generous and agree to a short draw.
Oh.
And it's one of these situations, I mean, I didn't feel entirely good about it, but there was also this fear, I mean, let's be reasonable. Tchaikovsky was an absolute fantastic player, at his peak, one of the best players in the Soviet Union, and chances that I would be able to draw against this person in a real game were rather slim. Of course I could have said, I play anyway, let's learn something, and it's a chance to play against a strong grandmaster. But there was also this idea you were invited, and the organizers, and so we agreed to this shady deal. I played 7 or 10 moves against Tchaikovsky the next day. A draw was agreed, and Tchaikovsky flew on to Vladivostok. But this was not the only thing. Basically it was the idea that Russians could make norms, and the 4 foreign players could also make norms, and
everybody win-win situation.
Win-win situation. And I think at no point, at no round in the tournament were all players present in the tournament hall, because there was always someone taking off and not playing, or playing the game in private, and so on and so on. And when we had the dinner before the last round, it was suddenly announced that one of the Soviet players had made an IM norm. And by chance, he could have only made this norm by winning against another Soviet player. But these players didn't play in the tournament hall, but it was just the result that was announced in the evening. Yeah? So it was another shady deal. And it was also like this. Before every round, the arbiter took us to a side and said, tomorrow you won't play against Bishukov, you will play against Holmov. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And it was just everything was rigged about this tournament. And the thing was that because Touzan at that time was not particularly strong, he lost one game after the other. I think he started the tournament with 0 out of 7 or 0 out of 8, I don't know. And then there's a problem, because if a player scores 0 points in a tournament, his results do not count. Mm-hmm. And so I think, there was a rumor that the Soviet players made a deal, that just like the strongest player, a guy called Vadim Ruman, who was very strong, fantastic player. but I think he stopped playing soon after, and he won the tournament. He agreed to a deal with another Soviet player who wanted to make a norm. And this Soviet player agreed to a draw with Tuzan. And then Ruban said, you agreed to a draw with Tuzan, I will make a draw against you. Well, they shouldn't have tried, they shouldn't have bothered, because in the last round I lost against Tuzan. And so the only player to lose against Tuzan. And so he finished with 1.5 points, and the results counted.
Oh, gee. Yeah. Well, that's a whole, that sounds like a very, very organized crime.
No, it was not organized. It seemed to be absolutely normal that games are just arranged, and that games are thrown and the results are arranged, and it's just a kind of to create norms. It seemed to be absolutely normal.
Which is fascinating, because when we're talking about cheating in general, then there is not only that you are cheating over the board, you're only like using the engine. That's the general idea of cheating while playing. But there's, of course, so many different ways of cheating in chess and in every other sport. For example, like cheating results. That is a form of cheating, of course, like that too.
Yeah.
By the way, for you who are watching, thank you so much for all your comments. It was very nice, the tone you used, and it was very interesting to read your comments. So if you want to talk about your own cheating experience, if you were a cheating person, or if you found somebody cheating against you, we will also be interested. We will read everything once again, of course. Cheating is a thing which is also going into other dimensions. I, for example, like to watch Stephen Bridges.
Welcome to part 4 of Team Strike's latest trip.
It's a YouTube channel. He's a former magician, but he decided to make a YouTube channel where he is playing blackjack, which is considered a game of luck, and it is. But if you are good enough in counting cards, if you learn this diligently, and if you're working with a group of other people together, then you can actually make some money out of this. So but it's a legal thing.
Yeah.
It's legal. So what happens is the dynamic is interesting when he's going to a casino and he's filming that he's playing a little bit, winning a little bit. Then some people recognize his face, some casinos, and they go like, okay, so this is your last game here. You can play anything else, but no more blackjack. You're too good for us to play blackjack. That is kind of the words for that. But it is funny because there is some gray zones about this legality as well. And I thought about it as the same way, like correspondence chess, when you use engines or not, or stuff like that. But yeah, it's a tough and rough theme, and especially in the last years, it shook up the chess world a little bit because of online chess.
Yeah, but coming to blackjack, I've always wondered why that is illegal. Because, I mean, if I'm a card counter and I have a scorecard and I note down every card, or if I have a computer that remembers all the cards that have been dealt by the dealer, this seems to be cheating. But on the one hand, I think it's a skill to be able to memorize, to remember so many cards. So, yeah, well, my argument would be, I play according to the rules, and I play the game to my best abilities. And why should this be forbidden? And I think the only reason is because the casino wants to earn money, and they can't earn money if the players are too good. But I mean, okay, maybe it's if you play together with others and you violate casino rules, then you could argue that it's cheating. But I would always say you play the game according to the rules. And cheating in chess is different, because you bend the rules. It's computer cheating, it's very clear, but also the other forms of cheating. It's just like you bend the rules to your advantage. And when I was thinking about this topic, I had the same feeling as you. I think, have I ever cheated? And then I realized that throughout my career, cheating has always been there. It has always been a topic. This was, I started to play when there were no computers in chess, or just very weak ones. So this was not a topic. But other ways, arranging games, or just someone just proposing moves to you as stronger players, saying, maybe you can play this or so on and so on. But it was basic. I mean, the most prevalent problem was bribery and throwing games. Just say whatever we have both chances for a prize. And then before the game we meet and say, Arne, I let you win, but then maybe I get 60% of your prize. Then you say, Johannes, I would beat you anyway. I give you 30 because, don't bother with the trouble.
They agreed to draw. Yeah, that's another theme.
And then I say, I mean, you don't only win the tournament, you also get a norm, so I get 70%. So, and
So it's more like a negotiation about
haggling, yeah.
Yeah. I there was a youth tournament, and two players who are friends in real life, they had to face each other, so they arranged their game, and they wanted to have some fun about it. Since we were all young, they wanted to have some fun, so the people who were walking by the board looked at the board. They were like, what is happening here? Because the first moves were like first G4 and second move was F4. And the fool's mate was on the board for like 12, 13, 15 moves or something. And they just made like some other moves until they agreed on a draw in this position. And then they got some serious trouble from the director, who was noticing that, of course. And he said, like, guys, that is absolutely disgusting what you've done here. I don't know how it ended, actually, but I think they got through with it.
Yeah, but again, what harm was done? That's the question.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's just a tournament,
interesting question, yeah.
Which, if it's a tournament and they finish in the middle, okay.
Oh, well, the harm was done. That's the So I can tell you, because I think part of the FIDE rules, I don't know if there's different rules in different chess tournaments, obviously, but part of the FIDE rules is if you are disrespecting the game of chess.
Oh yeah, but that's you can discuss this, yeah.
Oh yeah, indeed.
But let me give you another example, because what you just the story you told reminds me of another story I once witnessed, and these were two friends of mine, and we were playing in Biel, tournament in Biel, traditional prestigious tournament, and I don't know if they still have this, but at this time they had the so-called Torero prize. So the most spectacular, the most beautiful game of each round would get a prize, I think, of 100 Swiss francs and a dinner. I don't know. Yeah, so an attractive prize. And Indeed. These friends of mine, I have to say, they thought this was an attractive prize, and they pre-arranged the game. So they took the chess informant, and because they were they both like to play the dragon variation, they looked up a very sharp line of the dragon in chess informant, and I think they had an improvement ready. Problem was, when they started to play, one of the players forgot the lines, and at a certain point of time it was just like, in the dragon he had white and his king was on b1, and he played king c1. But according to the pre-arrangement, the king had to go to a1. And so his opponent said Jadoub and took the king from c1 and put it to a1. Yeah. And they soon lost track afterwards, and so the attempt to cheat failed miserably. But the thing was that, I don't know, I mean, you have been in Biel, but you sit very, very closely, and the guy next to them was an international master, and he followed the game, and the Jadoub maneuver, king c1, a1, led to raised eyebrows, so they were almost discovered. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, well, crazy.
Okay, this is funny because they failed and they were not up to it. But it's cheating nevertheless, because definitely. You try to win a prize that you don't deserve.
Yeah. Have you ever, so when I'm playing online, I think it probably is, I was working in an online casino once in my life, and I was in the fraud management. So I never planned that, but I just found the evil guys trying to cheat on the online casino. And there are plenty. And they're all trying to find new ways. If there's an opportunity, for example, there's a money prize for the nicest game. is there a way how to exploit that? Yes, we can play it like a beautiful game and get the money and food and have a draw and whatever, or a win or a loss or something. Anyway, so that led me kind of to spot cheaters online when I'm playing online. Do you play online too, I guess? Sometimes, every once in a while, or?
Every once in a while,
Okay.
but very every once in a while,
Okay.
maybe 2 or 3 games per week if I'm really in the mood, you know.
But yeah, online is just this thing. So you do not have your opponent in front of you. They're playing from a different part of the world, and they can there's always this idea, like it is so easy that they have their computer engine next to them, and or even a friend who is much stronger or whatever, right? There's always this idea like everybody could cheat. And I know it's not that much for myself, but I know some friends of mine who are playing on a higher level than me, and they mentioned like, oh, there's so many cheaters online. You cannot even play a normal game anymore. And I'm like, really? Yeah. Look at tiers, like after the game, you can see like how good they played, like even in percentage on some servers, how high the percentage is, and then you go immediately like, aha, that cannot be normal. This has to be a cheat, and then they block the player. But it's rough because, I mean, it can happen sometimes that you just play an amazing game. But on the other hand, the easiness of cheating is always there. So it is unfortunate and not very nice. How do you deal with cheaters online? Is like a general question I want to ask around, because sometimes I'm claiming, okay, this guy was clearly cheating. Here's the evidence, like here's only engine moves. And often enough, I get the confirmation, thank you for spotting a cheater. And yeah, then that thing is solved. But
Well,
yeah,
if I knew how to prevent cheating in chess, I would
you
be
would be a
very happy.
billionaire.
I think I would deserve a prize. And I think it's an amazing
of it.
problem. And as far as I know, all the providers of online platforms, online chess platforms, have not managed to solve this problem sufficiently. So there are always cheaters around, and I have no idea what to do against them, actually. But
Okay.
on a more philosophical, on a moral side,
Yes.
I was wondering, what do you get out of it? I mean, okay, if you win money, that's understandable, but people even cheat if it's just an absolutely unimportant game.
Crazy,
They
right?
cheat in casual games. They cheat in friendly tournaments. They cheat everywhere, and it's just like, I mean, what's the satisfaction I gain out of it? I mean, I win, but it's not me who is winning. It's the engine, my engine, who is winning, which is winning, you know?
Yeah.
Also, I mean, my experience at this Russian tournament is it's just like, it's this atmosphere of just like, you know, everyone is cheating and so on and so on. And it takes the joy out of chess. It takes the joy out of chess. I mean, if I would, my success or my wins would rely on cheating, I can't imagine that I would enjoy this, you know. And what I also find quite disturbing is the fact that each and every cheater is doing something to disturb or to destroy the chess environment. You know, because there is this kind of mistrust, you know, your opponent plays a move which is unexpected and strong, and you think, oh my God, he might be a cheater. You lose a game and you think, oh, of course he must have cheated, you know, and someone, you know, you see an underdog wins against the favorite. You think, oh, wait a minute, maybe he was cheating. So there's this kind of mistrust, and everyone is always suspecting that there is cheating going on. And cheaters, in this way, help to destroy the game and the surrounding and the environment of the game they supposedly love.
So true.
And I find this very, very hard to understand and very disturbing.
I think it's a different kind of thrill they get out of it so I guess only the feeling of winning might be one point that is enough. It doesn't matter how, because sometimes even when you're very ambitious as a chess player, you also go like, I need to win this. It doesn't matter how, as long as I win this. And then you are a bit more brutal in a football game, or you just hit the ball in tennis against the other player because he's just in the way instead of like doing something fine. And that is this thrill to just win. Then you just want to, sometimes it's just like, maybe you want the opponent to feel bad. That might be another point of thrill. And there's a third aspect probably, which is like not getting caught and feeling like, or having this illusion, like feeling like a super strong player, which is of course not given. Now, before we wrap this cheating thing up, because we could talk about this for several more hours, I also wanted to give two more examples, which are, I just quickly give them because it's interesting. There's this magician who was, another magician who was playing against 4 grandmasters simultaneously, and he built them up, one on the left, one on the right, one on the top, one on the bottom. And of course, you can already think how this ended. He was playing the moves of his opponent, of the first player for the second board, and the third board with the fourth board. So basically, the 2 grandmasters were just playing each other on the opposite colors. So however it ended, he would end up with a draw, which happened. He had 4 draws in the end against super grandmasters or strong grandmasters from the UK. So one
Wasn't this, sorry?
Yeah, please.
Wasn't this Darren Brown? And
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Isn't there a video on YouTube?
Then at 5, I play the opening from table 1 and remember the response. On 6, I play the opening from 2 and remember that response. On 7, I play 3's opening and remember that, and on 8, I do the same from table 4. We'll leave table 9 for the moment. Back to 1, and I play the response from 5 and remember this new response, and so on around the board, remembering the responses round one side of the room and playing them on the other side.
That's another form of cheating, of course, if you want to reach a draw or like an equal element. And then there's this very recent incident, which was like a little fun fact about the Niemann saga from last year, where a British studio invited Grandmaster Daniel Fernandez, who is also a very good Fritz trainer, very good coach, who was here at the ChessBase office, and they invited him to play against a person who is learning chess in 3 months and tries to beat the Grandmaster. So Daniel was, from the very beginning, I had an interview with him asking him about this incident. He was a bit suspicious. Well, what they actually did, they used an adult toy, plugged it in, and gave signals which piece to move to which direction.
Really?
Really. And I'll also show a little clip about this right here.
Just how easy would it be to beat a chess grandmaster with the help of beads? To put this to the test, we created a production company called Smash Media for a made-up TV show called 3 Month Expert. In this made-up TV show, members of the public would take on an expert in something after just 3 months' practice. After reaching out to some of the UK's 25 chess grandmasters, one, Daniel Fernandez, got on a call with me.
I presume you've been playing chess for a lot longer than 3 months.
About 21 years.
Yeah.
They replicated these stupid rumors how Niemann might have cheated.
Yes, and it worked.
It worked.
It worked.
Oh my God.
Daniel lost.
Arne,
But
you shouldn't reveal these secrets.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Now everybody can be having fun cheating. Now, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he lost, but he was very suspicious because it was always in the same amount of time when the opponent made the move. So that was the thing where he was like, there's something off here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did I want to go? Yeah, one last thing about the cheating. Sorry, I wanted to say, how can we chess players deal with the situation? What is the best thing to do in a situation to still enjoy chess and not go like, there's the whole world is cheating. It's I don't want to deal with this anymore. How can we still play chess and feel good about it, even if we discover a cheater once in a while? Do you have a solution?
I do not have a solution, I have to say.
That's dark.
And I find this no, really. I mean, if I had a, it's just I'm a bit at a loss here, and I have to say that has been this discussion. I mean, I'm reluctant to bring up his name, but Kramnik has been, he just makes waves by accusing strong players like Nakamura, Martinez, and
left, right,
Naroditsky.
and center. Yeah.
I have to say that if I watch the videos by Kramnik, this really brings me down, because his accusations seem to be unfounded, and strangely enough, he always brings them up after losing games, and I think there is just another YouTuber, Epic Chess. He presents some games. Kramnik lost against Naroditsky, and then the accusations, and then Kramnik raised accusations. But the whole debate seems to be so frustrating, because there's no proof. And I mean, Naroditsky, if you hear him talking about chess, he's very quick. He's a very strong bullet player. And I mean, how can he cheat in bullet? And how can he cheat when just citing variations?
I mean,
absolutely impossible.
Daniel, I even had the pleasure to interview him for my private channel once, and I still consider him probably the greatest chess host for any event anyway, and his personality is great. He's a super smart guy. He's very diligent in his chess world, and just from a character point of view, he's like a very cool person, a lovable person there. He has a big amount of fans as well. I'm a fanboy too, obviously. And then that he has to go through all of this is just it's rough times. So
and
it's
I've been a huge fan of Kramnik. I loved his games, and I loved the way he played, and this mix of positional depth and his strong attacking skills, and he seemed to know everything, and he seemed to be able to play every kind of game. And then after this, I mean, I find it difficult to take him seriously anymore.
Completely understand. Yeah. It's rough. Okay, so that's this about cheating. As I said, it's a thing we could talk about for many more days. But maybe, who knows? Maybe in the next month there will be some new cheating scandals, and then we can take up this theme once again. But for now, just a mosquito was flying in here and just bit me. I cannot believe that. Anyway, nonetheless.
I have just we could replace ourselves with artificial intelligence. So it's just the way
That's
we
a
look.
great idea,
yeah. So
there we go. I think you're onto something.
Yeah, I'm really onto something, and it would save us time, and we could just
we could relax,
just create much more content.
Oh yeah, you're right. Anyway, nonetheless, we have two more things we want to talk about. Johannes, you were what's the next thing in line? Tell me.
Well, I think we should briefly touch the US Championship, which was won by Carissa Yip and Fabiano Caruana. Unfortunately, Carissa Yip didn't manage a 100% score.
What a pity.
It's difficult, but
of course. But
she still won.
She won, although she lost in the second last round, right? That's also nice, right?
Yeah.
If you lose and you still won, that's an interesting way of feeling about the loss. So that was fine. Yeah, she was magnificently playing and well deserved. And that's clearly a win for her.
Caruana won his fourth US Championship title, which is, I think, only 10 players managed that in the history of the tournament.
That's actually a lot. 10 players,
10 players
could win their title four times consecutively?
In about 150 years? Not consecutively, just 4 titles in general.
Oh, okay. I thought 4 in a row. Sorry.
No, just 4, in your lifetime.
That makes much more sense. Yeah. Caruana did it. I mean, even Alwanda Liang was very close, my little outsider tip, but then he lost the last game and now he slipped down to
and
the second.
Caruana won. And he's now the world number 2 again.
2,800.
2,800. And we have a new, at least today, we have a new number 3. Before that, before the tournament, before this, Nakamura was number 2, Caruana was number 3, and now Caruana's number 2, and we have a new number 3, Arjun Erigaisi from India.
Congratulations. My goodness.
But in live ratings,
Yeah.
he managed to surpass the 2,800 mark at the European Club Cup in
Serbia.
Banatska Banja. If that's probably
That
not the
sounded
right.
very right. I was having difficulties thinking about how to pronounce it correctly, but I think you've done a good job. Yeah, that's another nice, interesting chess event, which is going on right now. A lot of strong players, and now even one with a rating of 2,800 for now.
Yeah, and Erigaisi is absolutely amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, I think he gained about 100 rating points during the last year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's as if he skipped the 2,700s almost.
Yeah.
That was it's quite amazing. Absolutely. What a beast. What a beast. And such a nice person nonetheless. Like not arrogant, just calm and aggressive and brave and crushing his opponents. But there's 2 more who are also touching the 2,800. So one is, of
Gukesh.
course, Gukesh, but he has a bit more difficult times now that he drew and lost the 2 last games. But of course, there's another one which skipped totally my radar. And he is playing for, where is it? Turkish Airlines? No, not Turkish Airlines. What is the club name? Where's the club name?
Who is it?
Super Chess? Yes, Super Chess. Super Chess, the strongest team. So board number 2, Nordibek up to Sattarov. Because he has 2,783 momentarily, and he just won all his 4 games he played, which gave him another 11 points. So he's at 2,794, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2,784, it says on the live rating. That's suspicious. Maybe I was...
Still
maybe I was
16 to
wrong.
go. But he will manage sooner or later.
I think he will touch the 2,800 also very soon.
It just seems to be a matter of time.
Those 3 seem to be the new elite in 2025, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, fantastic. Luckily, you have prepared an example, or even 2 examples of the...
Yeah, 2 examples
chess.
from the European Club Cup. The one was I was just curious how Erigaisi won.
Mm-hmm.
This is the end of his game against Andreikin. And
oh yes, I remember. I saw it on Twitter today.
Yeah, and what I find fascinating is just the game was interesting, but I thought, this is particularly interesting because this is the end, and this is a rook endgame, notoriously difficult, but this rook endgames, of all the endgames, rook endgames arise the most often, I heard. And it's just, if you read endgame books or if you have, lectures about the endgame, it's just like there's always this idea, just be active, be active and so on and so on. And then I remember when I play, I would like to be active, but what about my pawns? Don't I have to protect them? If my rook gets active, his rook gets active and he takes all my pawns. And then I get hesitant and I play defensively. Mm-hmm. But Erigaisi had a different approach. He played in this position. He played the move. Why doesn't this work now? Wait a minute.
The tension is rising.
E4, yeah. He played the move rook c2. And he didn't need... I thought this move was surprising because I would have tried to protect my pawn on b5, you know?
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Otherwise,
Me
black
too.
would have two. I mean, if black takes on b5, black would have two passed pawns on the queen side. But he just plays actively, and he plays rook c2. And the idea is, after e4, black wants to take the pawn. He plays rook d1, and suddenly there are mating threats against black's king. Black takes, and now after rook c7, white simply threatens rook d8. Black parries with rook g5, so after rook d8, we have rook g8. White plays h4, rook g4, rook d8, and now two rooks on the 7th, which is
difficult to defend.
Difficult to defend and difficult to achieve, I have to say.
Yes,
rook
that's
g4,
true.
back.
Yeah, because players know if there's two rooks on the 7th rank, it's almost game over.
Yeah, or at least you can secure a draw.
Yeah.
You know. So he takes on h7 and now threatening mate again. Black has only one move, which is this. King h8, king g2, b4, king h3, h5, rook g5, h6, rook b1.
Oop, another mate threat. No, not really.
But there's, now there are serious mate threats. Rook f5, he played really rook f5? No, rook f5 wasn't played. I think Andreikin resigned here.
Rook, yeah, there's nothing. What to do?
No, I mean, you can give a check, but this is,
Yeah.
rook h1, king g2, rook h7. I just take on h7 and I'm a rook up, and the passed pawns are just too far away from queening. No, I thought this was just a very, very impressive final phase of the game. I think black could have played better, but it was not easy to find. And I think it was just it was close to the time control, so black probably had little time left, and so
Yeah, and
No.
I think Erigaisi is known for just being ruthless and pushing forward and trying to also go for the mate at points in those situations. And it turns out to be the right decision because he's so precise.
Yeah. No, I thought this was quite impressive.
Yeah.
And there's another game I want to present, which just deals with one of my favorite topics, if I might say so.
Okay.
And this is a game by Vincent Keymer.
Also having a good time right now. I think he got 5 out of 5.
4.5
4
out
and
of
a half
5.
out of 5.
That's
Sorry, yeah.
4.5 out of 5.
That's not bad.
Just let me...
And he's playing for Novi Bor, which is, as far as I remember, quite a traditional club who has been, in
this
European
is the
Champions.
strongest Czech club, and they are very closely. I mean, they are sponsored by the sponsor of the Prague Chess Festival.
Yes,
and it's a strong team.
indeed.
And I think they are leading at the moment, isn't it? After 5 rounds,
That's correct. Yes,
They
and
are-
I can see the board pairings in this very moment. They're playing against Alkaloid next, so it will be Vidit against Arjun Erigaisi.
Oh, again.
And Vincent Keymer against YE or UI.
Okay.
So looking forward to this setup. So Vincent Keymer against Alexei Sarana.
Sarana, yeah. Also a very, very strong player, very impressive. He was playing for Russia, but now he plays for Serbia. And I think I asked you this before of whether you have a favorite rule in chess. I mean, it might sound like a silly question, but
I don't. I never thought about that before.
I mean, one of my favorite, or if not the favorite rule, is the fact that if you bring your pawn to the 8th or the 1st rank, depending whether you're white or you're able to promote to a queen or to any other piece of your color.
That is
and
beautiful.
I think without this rule, chess would be very boring. It would be very difficult to win any game. But with this rule, chess is very, very dynamic.
I imagine a person pushing the pawn to the 8th rank, and then you go like so. And now, I don't know. Well, you just pushed it forward, and now you have a pawn on the 8th rank. It cannot do anything. It's just there. Oh, that's disappointing.
And I was wondering, because this seemed to be such a modern concept, just like the idea of being reborn if you achieve something,
Or
And
transformed,
I thought,
which might be.
excuse me?
Or transformed, which is probably
Transformed,
more in
yeah.
our culture in 2024 now.
But apparently it's not such a modern rule. It's a very old rule, and in the predecessors of our chess, Chaturanga and Shatranj, there was also this possibility to promote a pawn to a stronger piece when the pawn reached the back rank. Yeah, but yeah, there were some changes in this rule, but whether, for instance, whether you had to convert your pawn into a queen, or whether just you have to convert the pawn into a captured piece, or so on and so on. But at the moment, I think the rules we have that you can convert into a piece of your own color, and you can choose between knight, bishop, rook, and queen is quite useful.
Totally.
Anyway, let's look at the game by Keymer. Why is it not starting? Keymer had white. And
This is so popular.
yeah,
This
it's a
opening.
Ragozin.
Yeah. Has some elements of the London.
Yeah,
A little.
named after Vyacheslav Ragozin, which I think was a training partner of Botvinnik.
Huh.
Yeah. So all this seems to be normal to a certain extent. And
I guess so, yes.
yeah, I guess so too. And black has a weak square. The white has a weak square on c4, and black tries to block this. So both sides bring their pieces into position. Yeah, and here white protects c4.
And black.
And so far, everything seemed to me more or less normal. This is not to say that I would have been able to find these moves or play these moves. But now white plays a move which I find really surprising, and I guess I wouldn't have played it. It wouldn't even have crossed my mind, I have to say.
Is
No.
it e4?
No, it's not
Oh.
e4. White here played the move rook to e1.
Okay.
Which is surprising, because he just, a couple of moves ago, he played it to d1.
Yeah.
And
What
also,
an,
let's
what an
face it,
amateur.
yeah, what an amateur. Or he has an engine running. Let's start the procedure, Because, let's face it, there's the bishop on e2, there's the pawn on e3. And what's the use? Why is white moving the rook to e1?
Well, maybe
Well,
his plan is to push forward e4 after all, instead of
I think
c4.
that might be his plan. Moving the bishop, then play f3 and then e4, and suddenly the rook on e1.
Interesting.
It's very useful, yeah. f3, that is.
Yeah, now we're almost certain.
Yeah. And now black occupies c4, which leads to a couple of exchanges. So, and now white has a pawn majority, a big majority, 5 against 3 in the center.
Very cute.
And on the king side, and black has a pawn majority on the queen side. We also have opposite colored bishops, which might lead to a draw in the end game, but which also might spice up the middle game. White plays e4, c6, g4.
Oof.
Yeah, white is just advancing his majority. So queen b2, just to be able to play with the queen on the second rank. And now black advances his pawns on the queen side. f4, a4, a5, f5, c5, c5. And this again, just this this adds fuel to the fire because
100%.
after c5, white plays d5. And now white has a pass pawn on the d file, and also the white pawns seem to be very impressive. But on the other hand, black also has an impressive majority on the queen side. And I think in games or during the game, it's very difficult to evaluate which majority is stronger.
Yeah.
So, queen d2, b3.
Oh.
Yeah, so black's pass pawn is closer to the queening square than white's pass pawn. h4, a6, g5. And here is something else which I find quite interesting in this game. Just like if you look at the bishops, well, the black bishop seems to have not much scope, and white is threatening g6, and black puts the bishop outside the pawn chain, but there it seems to be very unfortunate because now white advances his pass pawn, queen d5.
Wins a pawn, but queens are exchanged.
Yeah.
But that plays into white's game at the moment.
But this is the interesting part, because now black's bishop is shut off from the game, and also black's king on g8 might get into trouble if a rook or queen ever reaches if a white rook or queen ever reaches the back rank. So pawn, rook, queen, all should go for touchdown.
Yeah, interesting that b2 is not really working because of rook c2, rook b1, and then I don't think that black can give enough pressure to push that pawn forward. But that would be my immediate choice as black, as an amateur
Yeah, but you come
move.
too late, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You come too late. And also there's the white d pawn. So, but now what I find is surprising is that white takes here. You know? Because now black has two passed pawns on the queen side.
Yeah.
And they are quite far advanced. But Keymer had calculated precisely, because he now advances the c pawn. a4, c5.
Yeah, it kind
c6.
of, maybe it feels a bit easier when there's no bishop available anymore for black.
Yeah, but still they are very far advanced. e5.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if black takes on e5, I play rook e5, and then I have queen, rook e7, and bishop e5 attacking the weak point on g7. And now this is what I love. You know, this is why you know
Chess is
the rules
beautiful.
of passed pawns are so impressive, because just when both sides have passed pawns, the whole situation is explosive, and there's just all kinds of combinations, and material considerations seem to be not so important anymore, because if you have the chance to promote your pawns, you will get your material back with interest. Black takes on f5, e7, rook e8, and now white plays rook c4.
Oh,
You know, yeah, I also like this move. You know, instead of trying to advance his pawns, he attacks black's pawns. You know,
forcing them to move further.
forcing them to move ahead, and then rook c3,
Wow.
b2, and now
Just
rook
a
a3.
sacrifice.
Yeah. And the thing is, if black plays now b1, rook b1, bishop b1, d7,
That's
the
game
pawns
over.
promote. So black takes this pawn, and now white has a very strong move, after which black resigned, I think.
Okay. Is it rook a8 even?
Oh, very good.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing some tactics lately.
Oh, very good. Rook a8, yeah.
Very cute.
So, yeah. Yeah, if black takes, I mate you with e8 queen. And if you say, okay, I mean, if you play rook c8 to prevent the advance of the pawn, rook c8, bishop c8, and then I just win the pawn on b2 with rook b1, and then the endgame is an easy win.
It's almost, it's almost impossible to stop.
Black resigned, and, well, we had another example of the power of passed pawns.
I like it. You can
Yeah, I liked it
unshare
too.
the screen. That was very, very nice. Thank you for showing us those games, Johannes. Yeah, I think we're done. That's been a long show, but it's been also a lot, of course, to talk.
Yeah.
It got almost out of hand, but yeah, as we mentioned already, cheating is just an interesting,
Cheating
crazy
easily
thing.
gets out of hand, whether you talk about it or whether you fall victim to it.
Yeah, I hope none of you have lost the passion for chess because of all the cheating stuff. Maybe you actually know a way how to overcome it. Maybe you have like the ability to just go like, well, it's part of it. It's if it happens once in a while. Most of the players don't cheat, which is absolutely true, 100%. So it shouldn't destroy the fun of chess. It hasn't for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't still play it. So, all right.
Okay, Arne.
That was 2 nights talk.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. We see
Thank
each
you
other
for watching.
soon enough.
And have a nice weekend and see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.